the Distortus Rex, the hellish mutant dinosaur from Jurassic World Rebirth. Good film, by the way. I really liked it. And its opponent, the Vistatosaurus Rex, the the evolved form of a T-Rex, made to kill, crush, and destroy. What is up, everybody? It's your host Inferno back for a new video. And in today's video, we are going to be putting the Distortus Rex up against the Vistatosaurus Rex. Now, the V-Rex has had quite the losing streak on this channel, first losing to the Skullcrawler, a Skullcrawler, and then also losing to the JP3 Spinosaurus. So, can it finally find redemption against the distorted king, or will it become another victim? Let's find out. Starting off with the Distortus Rex. Now, this thing does not fight anything throughout the film. However, the feats that we do have of it are crazy. Now, as an infant, the Distortus Rex was capable of busting out of an entire lab and going through an electric fence. Also, it's worth noting that since this thing has lived on St. Hubert, I think that's what the island's called, let me know in the comments. St. Hubert, anyways, since this thing has lived on, I think, St. Hubert for quite some time, we can assume it's fought some Spinosaurus, Quetzalcoatlus, T-Rex, and of course, packs of Mutodons for sure. Maybe T-Rex. And now onto metrics. The Distortus Rex weighs, weighs up to 10 tons. Only 10 tons, somehow. Length 14.5 meters, and a height of up to 8.1 meters. However, me personally, I don't buy this. Judging from the film, I personally believe that the Distortus Rex was so much bigger than what this source is saying. And I looked up a lot of sources, and they were so inconsistent. So, me personally, I'm just gonna say height is around the 15 at the max, maybe more likely 13 tons. Length can be up to 16 meters, 14 meters at the lowest, and height up to 12 meters. So yeah, that is what I believe the D-Rex should have been. And this thing has a ton of weapons. Starting off, this thing has bone-crushing jaws, which I know they're bone-crushing because these chompers were able to bite through freaking helicopter metal and the spinning blade thingy. I don't know. It is also very dexterous because look at those arms. They are very long, and they even have an opposable thumb. This thing is also highly intelligent. The reason I know this is because in one scene, the D-Rex was seen playing with its prey. This is a sign of great intelligence, knowing what fear is and experimenting on what things certain do, as it was seen like moving around a human, touching it, just slamming it against the wall, seeing what would happen. So this thing is highly intelligent. Also, as for me, speculated echolocation, because look at that big head. It's a melon. And also, probably okay vision, because the jaw structure is inherited from T-Rex. However, the skull structure is tampered with, so this thing's eyesight could be good or it could be awful. And that is the D-Rex. Now, moving on to the V-Rex. Starting off with his metrics. Now, the D-Rex, the V-Rex, has a length of 16 to 24 meters, has a height of 7.1 meters, and a weight of 15 to 20 tons, which I'm going to stick with the middle ground. I think this thing could have weighed up to like 18 tons. The reason I'm not pushing it to the max is because, well, we're doing an average D-Rex, an average V-Rex. This thing also has a very flexible spine, allowing it to kind of slither through forest canopy and jungles. And these jaws, they are made to crush prey. However, because of the tooth arrangement, a lot of that force is diminished. So the tooth structure just kind of kills this thing's bite force. However, it makes up for that in agility. As being a descendant from the mighty T-Rex, it inherits an ilia, which allows it to make 360-degree turns on one foot. It also easily tanks punches to the face with Kong, from King Kong, and this thing has to deal with creatures such as, well, Kong. Also, it has to deal with the Pteranodon and the two different species of Venatosaurus, Venatosaurus savidicus and Venatosaurus impavidus. And it also hunts huge prey such as the Brontosaurus. This thing is also pretty intelligent. They're capable of working in groups, such as shown against Kong. However, Kong and the V-Rexes do have beef with each other, so yeah. But they still were able to work with each other, so that's something. And now let's get into the battle analysis, starting off with durability. And now, well, the V-Rex does have crocodilian-like armor. The D-Rex steals this category. The reason for that being is that this thing takes shot fire like nothing. This guy also gets run into by a truck, and it only gets him angry. Yeah, this guy is crazy. And this category goes to D-Rex. No question about it. Next up is intelligence. Now, V-Rex being descended from the T-Rex, very intelligent. However, compared to the D-Rex, it is just nothing. The D-Rex steals this category once again. Now, senses. Now, this category goes to the V-Rex due to a more refined body shape compared to this abomination. Now, agility. Again, this one goes to the V-Rex. It's literally not a competition. Speed, once again, goes to the V-Rex. And then there's bite force. This one is kind of tricky due to the Distortus Rex suffering the same issue as the V-Rex of having a bad tooth arrangement. However, with the jaw being shorter, in my opinion, that makes its bite all the more lethal. The reason being because if you have more teeth distributed on more surfaces of area, your bite force gets weaker. But if you have less teeth and less amount of pressure distributed along the surface, then your bite is going to be stronger. And with the D-Rex's skull being shorter, I find that kind of helps it. However, the V-Rex still has a more refined skull shape, so this category goes to the V-Rex. Although just barely, because the V-Rex, once again, not the V-Rex, the D-Rex was once again able to bite through a helicopter, though I do firmly believe that the V-Rex could have done the same thing. And now, it is time to discuss the winner. The V-Rex is walking through the jungle in search of prey. Then it encounters a being like it's never seen before. The Distortus Rex. The V-Rex walks up to it cautiously, trying to inspect its new adversary. Then the D-Rex spots the V-Rex with its speculated okay vision. Then the D-Rex, being the D-Rex, roars at the V-Rex. The V-Rex takes this as a sign of aggression, and it starts attacking the D-Rex. The fight has begun. The D-Rex starts swinging its arms around like crazy. It slashes the Vistatosaurus Rex in the face. The V-Rex is stunned. This allows the D-Rex to get a bite onto the neck, and it crushes the neck. However, Because of the resilience of the V-Rex, it keeps on fighting. Now, it breaks free from the D-Rex's grip, and it bites down on one of the D-Rex's arms. The D-Rex, enraged, uses its two T-Rex finger arm thingies to get a better grip on it, and that puts the V-Rex in the perfect position for the main arms to go ham. One arm one arm stabs into the side of the V-Rex. The V-Rex roars out in pain. The D-Rex then stabs its other arm onto its back. The V-Rex again roars in pain. And then lastly, the D-Rex then gives one final bite to the throat of the V-Rex and crushes its neck. The D-Rex wins. So, why did the D-Rex win? Well, it mainly came down to two things: size and intelligence. Now, the D-Rex being much smarter than the V-Rex, in my opinion, helped it out a lot in this fight. Also, its greater dexterity allowed it to land more fatal blows than the V-Rex. And that is why, in my opinion, the D-Rex wins in this fight. And that is all for this video, guys. Let me know if you enjoyed it. And as always, I've been the Inferno Dragon. V-Rex, I'm sorry again. Goodbye.